The aim of this study is one, to establish a biblical foundation for wealth creation and business practices. Two, to help us understand how our identity in Christ shapes our business decisions. So the kind of business you want to do as a Christian, you should know what to venture into. Three, to provide practical guidance for ethical business conduct, which means the type of business, good business that you want to venture into. Then lastly, to address common questions about Christians' involvement in business. At times you hear questions like, can a Christian do this kind of business? Can a Christian do this kind of business? So at the end of this study, we should have a clear picture of the type of business a Christian should venture into. Now, those are the aims of this business. Now, the scope of my business, of this study, is one, the biblical view of wealth creation. If I say scope, meaning that I will not exceed whatever I am stating now. I will not exceed because it is a very broad topic. So I am stating the scope so that we do not exceed whatever I have listed here. So one, I want to look at the biblical view of wealth creation. Two, how our Christian identity guides our business decision. Three, Christian values in business practices. Then lastly, the practical application of biblical principles in modern business. How we can apply biblical principles in our modern business, which is our current day business. So, the first question I want to ask is, who is a Christian? Who is a Christian? At times, when we are talking about a Christian, the first thing that comes to my mind is that a Christian is somebody that is disciplined. It hurts me so much that you see people that call themselves Christians and they are not disciplined. So once we are talking about Christianity, we are talking about discipline. Some people, they are not disciplined, but they want to profess what? Faith. So once we are talking about faith, it goes along with what? Discipline. So a Christian, first and foremost, must be what? Discipline. So whatever you want to do, you must be what? Discipline. Wherever you find yourself, not only in the church hall, some of us we just believe that, oh, just coming to the church hall, we just act fine, but immediately we leave this place, then we become something else. So Christianity has to do with what? Discipline. Now, the problem we have with businesses today has to do with what? The decision we want to take before setting up what? The business. The challenges that this business will pose as we what? As we do the business. You know, you get some kind of business where you do. Please, during the course of this study, I will try to what? To code switch and code mix, meaning that I will try to do it in such a way that we understand ourselves. Okay? Are we together? So, the type of business where you want to, as you do the business, there are some problems you will face as you are doing the business. And this business, the way you start the business, when you don't enter finish, you can't discover, say, not be so, be do it, not be so a be. There are somewhat dark sides to this business. Do you understand? So before you venture into this business, you need to what? thoroughly explain the business before you what you venture into it. You don't just jump into business like that. Now, when we talk about business, our sole goal of setting up a business is what? What is our primary purpose of setting up a business? Is to do what? We want to make profit. But at the same time, as you want to make profit, you should not use that business to cause what? Problem. As you set up a business, you should not use it to do what? Cause problem. Because at times, some of us, we are so blinded with the profit we want to make, and nothing concerns us again. Now just to make the money that will be for our mind. Now there are some questions that people normally ask. They will ask, as a Christian, can you be wealthy and be a good Christian? So I'm asking us today, can you be wealthy, like really wealthy, and be a good Christian?
Yes.
Okay, it's alright. Then, how do you compete in business? Take for instance, you sell one kind of product. It's very common in Africa here. Immediately you say you want to start a cash card business. Immediately you just put your umbrella like this. Believe you me, if it took 3 days, another person will just stand umbrella for them. So as a Christian, how do you compete in business? Healthy what? Competition in business. Do we have a way we go about it? At the end of the day, we will know. Then what kind of business activities are you acceptable to do as a Christian? As a Christian, which kind of business is acceptable? As in anywhere you take it to, it will not be what? Questionable. So if you are doing any business that has a what? A question mark, please, after this study, go back home and do what? And review it carefully. Now, if the purpose of a particular thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. Meaning that if you don't know why you are doing a particular thing, abuse is what? Inevitable. Meaning that there must be what? Abuse. For instance, if you are a Christian and you don't know why you are a Christian, so many of us don't know why we are Christians. Am I correct? So many of us, since we don't know why we are Christians, then we will have what? Problem. The problem is that we will lose our what? Identity. Okay? Let us take 1 Peter chapter 2. Let's read from verse 9 to 12. Please, let's read from verse 9 to 12.
But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people, that you may proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
Thank you very much. Now, we are not talking about identity as a what? As a Christian. Now, let's break it down. Let's break it down. The first thing I want to look at is what? He said you are chosen what? People. Meaning that you are selected from what? From the crowd. You are what? Selected. Now, since you are selected, he used another word. He said you are a royal what? Priesthood. Meaning that you are a representative of what? Of God here on earth. And you be the waiting, the hand and the what? The foot of God here on what? On earth. As a what? As a chosen people. Right? Then you are a holy nation. Meaning that in the gathering of Christians, what I expect to see is what? Is purity. Right? Is what? Purity. But once this is not achieved, then there is what? Something wrong. Then God's special possession. You are what? God's special possession. So this is what? Who a Christian, this is who a Christian is. From 1 Peter that we have what? That we have read. So these qualities or virtues I have stated defines your what? Identity as a what? As a Christian. When we are talking about true Christianity, a true Christian, is somebody that has been refined in his what? In his mind. When you have been refined in your mind, then the way you were before, you have been what? You have been transformed from that phase into another phase of godliness. You can now begin to classify one as a what? As a Christian. Please let us read Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2.
I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
Now, he said you will be what? You will be transformed. Meaning that you no longer conform to what is universal. You no longer conform to what is universal. You have been what? Transformed by the what? The renewing of your heart. Are we together? Now, lastly, the last point I want to take there is the disciples of Christ were called Christians. Why were they called Christians? It is because of their what? Their lifestyle. You know, it got to a point where people now see Christianity is supposed to be a lifestyle, but today Christianity is a religion. Christianity is a religion. It ought to be a lifestyle, which people saw in Acts of Apostles chapter 11 verse 26, and they called the disciples Christian because of their what? Their lifestyle. So if you call yourself a Christian, I should be able to judge you. I should be able to judge you by your what? By your lifestyle. So if your lifestyle does not conform to what we have as the standard, then we can say, oh, this person's character is what? Questionable. So let me now delve into wealth creation. I've been able to establish who a Christian is. All what I have said is that a Christian is somebody that has been what? Transformed by the renewing of his what? Of his mind. So now we want to look at wealth creation. What is God's plan for what? Wealth creation. God gave us a plan and a pattern to follow. The first part is I want to consider is, if you consider Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. Please read Genesis 1:26.
Genesis 1:26 read us. Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over the cattle, over the earth, and every creeping thing that creep on earth.
Thank you very much. Now, God said, let us create man, so that man will have dominion over everything on the sea or in the sea, everything on the surface of the earth, anything that creeps, then over the birds in the sky. So man is supposed to have what? Dominion. Right? But if you read Genesis chapter 1 verse 28, God told man how he can have dominion over all these things.
28.
Yes.
Then God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth.
Now, if you consider that text you just read, God gave 4 steps before you can have what? Dominion. So meaning that this is God's pattern to have dominion over all that he has what? He has created. And the first thing he said you should be what? You should be fruitful. So when they are talking about fruitful, it's not talking about producing children. It's not talking about producing children. It's talking about you should be what? Creative. You should be what? Creative. Now, you will discover that people that are very poor, or the people that attend poor, are the people that are not what? creative, people that cannot what? Create. So, when we are talking about talents, God gave each and every one of us here talents. God gave us a skills. God gave us something when we were what? Better. God gave us something. Now He is not telling us that we should be what? We should be creative. And when He created man, remember, He did not give the man chair. He didn't give the man chair. But rather, they were in the world, in the trees. So, because of the creativity of man, man was able to do what? To produce chair out of what? The tree God gave to him. So, when we are talking about the fruitful, you should be what? You should be creative. Right? So, it is the first point that God has given to us. I said how many steps? Four. So, the first one, He said you should be what? You should be fruitful, which means you should be what? You should be productive. Right? Now, the second step, He said you should be what? You should what? You should what? You should replenish, you should multiply. You should what? Multiply. So meaning that if you have created anything, you should do what? Multiply it. Whatever you have created, try as much as possible to do what? To multiply that thing that you have created. If you create just one good product, for instance, I am a web designer. I've been able to create an app that stores information, right? I have created just one what? Product. Through the what? The skills God has blessed me with. Now, if I don't multiply it, that one skills cannot give me what? Wealth. So God is telling you to do what? To multiply that seed or that thing that you have created. You should do what? You should multiply it. So the second step is what? Multiplication. Whatever you have created, you should do what? You should multiply it. Then the third step, God said you should what? You should replenish. From Genesis 1:28, God said replenish. Replenish means that you should what? You should supply that thing that you have multiplied. That way you don't multiply, supply it, distribute it all over what? All over the places. Then the last step is what? You should subdue. So when we are talking about subdue, you should what? You should take control. You must take control of what? Of the market. Now, after you put these four steps into place, the final result is what? Is dominion. So the dominion that God is talking about is a what? Is a result. Right? So, if you check, this is the pattern of what? Of wealth creation. These people, if you check anybody that follows this pattern, they are always what? They are always very wealthy. Have you seen anybody that created a product, multiplied the product, replenished the product, subdue, meaning that distributed it all over the world, that is not successful? Have you seen any? No. Look at the likes of Abraham. You see that whatever they produce, they try to do what? To multiply it. They multiply it and do what? Have dominion. So dominion is a what? Is a result. So what is the purpose of subheading? Purpose of wealth. What is the purpose of wealth? Let's read Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 8, verse 18. 8:18.
And you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you power to get wealth, that you may establish His covenant, which He has sworn to your father, as it is this day.
It is God that gives you what? The power to do what? To produce, to have what? Wealth. It is God that gives you the power. There are some people that have good talents. They have good skills, but they cannot what? Harness them. They cannot convert it into what? Into wealth. Okay, but Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 18 that we have read, he said it is God that gives you what? The power to do what? The ability to do what? To produce wealth. God is the source of wealth creating ability. So meaning that whatever you want to do, you must put what? You must put God. God must be at what? At the center of it. I remember then when I was in school, I have a culture. Then I was not a Christian, but I have a culture. Before I start reading, I will definitely what? Pray. What am I praying for? I'll just pray and say, God, please, I want to study. Give me the ability to what? To concentrate and remember all that I am what? I want to read. It's just a simple prayer I say in my heart. And honestly, I go there, I read, take every form of distraction from myself, and when I come out, I have the tendency to remember majority of the things I have read. And over time, I continue to do what? To repeat that thing. When you repeat things, it repeats in your what? In your memory. But when you read once, I'm talking to students now, if you read and you don't go back to what you have read, there is every possibility that you forget what you have read. But when you read and you read again and continue to repeat that thing, it will stick in your what? In your memory. Now, what are the moral boundaries we should have before setting up a business? What are the moral boundaries we should have before what? Setting up a boundary. So if we are talking about ethical, we are talking about, if I say ethical, I'm talking about code of conduct. We are talking about moral. Okay? So what are these things that we must consider before setting up a business? Now, the first thing we must look at is, who are you that wants to set up this business? How will people see you that wants to what? That wants to set up this business? Remember, Matthew chapter 5 verse 16 says, you are what? He said we are the light. Please read Matthew 5:16.
Matthew 5:16. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good work and glorify your Father in heaven.
Now, let your light be seen before men. What is your light? What is your light?
Character.
Your light is your character. When the Bible is talking about your light, it's talking about your what? Your character. Let your character be seen by what? By men. And when they see this character, they do what? They will glorify God in heaven. So the first point we will look at, our business practices should reflect who? Christ. Whatever business you want to do, you should do what? You should reflect Christ. It should be a reflection of what God wants you to what? God wants you to do. Are we together? Are we together? Then secondly, others should see Christ through our what? Our conduct. Others should see Christ through what? Our conduct, through our behavior. I said the light is your character. So others should see Christ through what? Through your character. So if people, like my dad, long ago, if you tell my dad that you are a Christian, he becomes very, very careful of you. He will begin to watch you very keenly. And one day I called him and asked him, I said, Dad, why are you always doing this thing? He said, you don't tell me who you are. Let your character tell me who you are. You cannot tell me that you are white, but your character is telling me that you are what? You are black. So what we are saying here is that your conduct should tell people who you are. Then our reputation matters for God's glory. Our reputation, wherever we find ourselves, if we go out there, people see us, they see the kind of business we are doing. Does the business reflect God's character? Does it reflect the goodness of Christ in what you are doing? Can people see it through the nature of the business that you are doing? So that is one point that we should consider very carefully before setting up a business. Colossians chapter 3 verse 17 and 23. Every business decision should honor God.
Colossians chapter 3 verse 17
Yes.
And whatsoever you do, in words or deed, do all in the name of the Lord, giving thanks to God the Father through him. 23. And whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord, not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of your inheritance. For you serve God, for you serve the Lord Jesus Christ.
You can understand from this that whatever business you want to do, that business should do what? Should honor God. So if you dey do business wey be say e no dey honor God, it is time for you to start reflecting on that business. Okay? Let people give excellent testimony of whatever you are doing. Let people give excellent testimony of what you are doing. Now, it can be a skill. Let me give you a practical example. Take it for instance, I have the skill or I have the talent of singing. Let whatever I'm going to sing not have a negative testament or testimony in the ears of people. Are we together? When people listen to your songs or people listen to your music, let people don't have a negative testimony for what you are doing. So any business you are doing, if we have a negative testimony or people testify negatively about that thing you are doing, you know that that thing does not what? Glorify God. It does not. Now, in our present situation, or our present dispensation, one major problem I see is what? Gambling. Setting up a betting shop. Setting up a betting shop. Somebody will come and meet you. As a Christian, can I set up a betting shop? Right? So I want to throw a question to all of us today. Is gambling a sin? Gambling. Is gambling a sin?
Yes.
Eh?
Yes.
Why is gambling a sin?
Just like you're using 1 naira, you get 1 million.
Definition of gambling. Gambling is the act of wagering money or valuables on an outcome that is largely based on chance, with the hope of gaining more than was risked. With the hope of gaining more than was risked. So meaning that gambling, anything that is a game of chance is what? Anything that is a game of chance is what?
Gambling.
So I now ask, I said is gambling a sin?
Yes. Yes, it's it.
Okay. Now we'll try to clarify everything at the end of this story. At the end of the story. So is lottery a sin? Yeah. American Visa lottery.
Yes.
Is American Visa lottery, is it a sin?
Yeah.
No, remember we said anything of chance is a what? It's a sin. Right? That was what you said.
Yes.
Now, we said gambling is a sin. I said, okay, fine. Now, is American Visa lottery a sin?
No, no, it's I don't put money.
No, I'll tell you.
I don't want anything.
Who know how they do? Who know how they do lottery?
I've tried before. I don't want anything. I don't want
You buy the form. It's not free.
It's online.
Yeah, it's online now. It's not be free. You not just go there, go grab. It's not free now. I mean, you take your money now, and you are expecting an outcome. You are expecting what? An outcome, right? What about Lotto? Now, you can see that these things I have mentioned, they are all under gambling. So when we are talking about gambling itself, it is a term, it is a name given to the activity. So when we are talking about betting, betting is a form of what? Gambling. Are we together? Betting is a form of what? Gambling. Lottery is a form of what? Gambling. Lotto is a form of what? gambling. Do you understand? So when we are talking about gambling itself, it is a thing of what? Chance. And a thing of chance, we cannot call it what? A sin. Are we together? But when we are not talking about the activities, like betting, it becomes a what? A sin, because you are doing what? You are putting in a what? A wager. To expect what? Bigger outcome. You said? Yes, Babi Jebu. So all these are form of what? Gambling. Are we together? Are we following?
Yes.
They are under what? The umbrella of what? Gambling. But what we are talking about, we are not singling, we are now bringing out each activities that is under what? Gambling. And one of them is what? Sport betting. So let us talk about sport betting. Why is sport betting a sin? Why is sport betting a sin? Let us read Proverbs chapter 13, verse 11.
Proverbs 13:11. Wealth gained by dishonesty will be diminished, but he who gather by labor will increase.
Now, I saw somebody that invested 500 naira and won with 20 million. I was like, what is wrong with this person? Now, the person that is doing the business, one thing they don't know, majority of us are doing betting here. One thing you don't know is that whoever that owns the business wants to do what? He wants to make profits now. We said it here, I said it that the purpose of business is to do what? Is to make profits. So the person that set up the betting shop wants to do what? Wants to make profits. So the person that wants to make profits, you are not banking on chance. You are not banking on chance that, okay, I go put 500 naira. And when you put the 500 naira, you want to win 20 million naira. How is it possible? How is it possible? I see, do you know what I see there? I see greed. And the Bible warns us about what? Greed. So when people say betting is a sin, we are talking about the activity, the greed, the evil agenda that is what? That is behind it. And that is why we discourage it at all costs. I've never betted in my life. And I pray to God not to see anything in this life that will make me to bet. I met a little boy that was last week. He told me that I've been making money from betting. I said, how much have you invested in betting? You don't take record of that. Today you put 500, tomorrow you put 200, next tomorrow you do this. But because they are small money, you don't give what? You don't take record of these things. Then at the end of the day, they'll come give you 10,000 naira. The day you put 500 naira. But remind you, it is people that contributed that money where they give you. It is never from the pocket of the owner of the business. Do you understand? So that act is what is very, very devilish. Please read Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 10. 5, verse 10.
Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 10. He who loves silver will not be satisfied with silver, nor he who loves abundance with increase. This is only vanity.
So this is the life of the what? Of those that are into what? All of these activities. Those that are all of they can see you can never be satisfied. Somebody that is doing betting can never be satisfied. Immediately they put money today, they win. Even if they have a fortune from it, they must go back. They will do what? They will go back. So Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 10 is saying that whoever that loves money can never be what? Can never be satisfied. You can never satisfy yourself again. Lastly, the point I want to look at from there is that those that does these things, they can never, they can, how would I put it? It fits your greed. Meaning that it's over time, you will discover that you are becoming too greedy. Take it for instance, say we have different levels of greed. If you did for grade 1 before, you start betting. Believe you me, after 1 year, you go down there what? Level 3. So this particular activity fits your what? Your greed. It fits your greed. If you win 1 naira, you go do it. You go won't win 2 naira. If you win 2 naira, you go won't do it. You go won't win 3 naira. So your level of greed will continue to what? To increase when you find yourself doing all of these activities. Majority of us here that are Christians, that we do all these things. So many of us we do betting. I have seen some Christian brothers doing betting. At times, I'll just look at them and pretend as if I did not see them. I will go my way. They do betting. And now, they have even made it very, very easy. You just sit down in the comfort of your home and do what? And play bets. Remember, what you do in the secret can actually define whether you are a Christian or not. What you do in the secret, where nobody sees you, can actually determine whether you are a Christian or not. Meaning that I can secretly do something. Nobody sees, no person saw me. I have done it. But deep down in my conscience, when somebody is saying something against that thing, my conscience will do what? My conscience will strike me. That thing when I accuse this man of, me too, I do it. I do it. So the people that owns this business, they have looked at it that so many people won't do this thing, but because they don't tell people say they be Christians, they're not going to like one waiting, one go to the shop, go do this thing. So let us make it what? Online. It's a business strategy. Let us make it online. Then you sit in the comfort of your home and do the what? And do the betting. When I was growing up, somebody betted and he lost the money. He sold his house. Actually, this said he mortgaged his house. He used it to bet. At the end of the day, when they came to evict his family, he drank acid. I saw him live, he drank acid. And God so dealt with that man that after drinking the acid, he did not die. Yes. He drank the acid, he didn't die. So the mouth was sealed, they could not open it again. They had to create a hole in his throat here. So they were feeding him through that hole. That scene was horrible. All these are the words, the negative consequence of what? Betting. Greed. Why would I mortgage my house? Or somebody will use elephants as a bait. What do you want catch? You go use one. Take set this as a bait. You go catch what? Fish. But now you are using an elephant as a bait. What do you want to catch? How can you mortgage your house where you have your wife? See, it's so disrespectful. It's so disrespectful. You have your wife, you have children, you have everybody. Some of us, the money that we use to feed our family, we go and use it to what? Bet. We go and use it to bet. It's so disrespectful. You don't have single respect for your what? For your family. Any person that does it, please desist from it. It's so shameful. Okay? Now, some of the issues with gambling I have stated, it depends on what? On charts. Addiction and destruction, it brings in addiction and destruction. It brings in exploitation. It brings in what? Exploitation. How does it bring exploitation? Meaning that everybody will do it, they will contribute. At the end of the day, they will take a little fraction and give it to what? To one person and exploit the other what? The other people. So it brings what? Exploitation. So as a Christian, as a Christian, God does not want you to get yourself involved in this kind of activity. I'm not saying that, what I am saying since is that you should not do it to let alone setting up the business. So somebody will walk up to me now and say, as a Christian, what is wrong if I set up a betting shop? Is it not the person that just left his house to come and bet? No. What about the destruction that you are causing? Okay, so betting is not a good report for a what? For a Christian. Are we together? Yes. Now another aspect I want to look at is Ponzi scheme. Is what? Ponzi scheme. Ponzi schemes are fraudulent investments. This is the definition. Are fraudulent investment operations where returns for earlier investors are paid with the capital of new investors, rather than what? Genuine investment. So meaning that if I start up a Ponzi scheme, this is how it works. I did all of this long ago. When MMM came, I was not even doing MMM with Naira. I was doing MMM with what? Dollars. Which is MMM United. That was what I was doing. Now, a time came, I sat down. I can't ask myself, when the thing don dey reach when e wan break, I can't ask myself, how these people take dey really make money? Because my money is at stake now. My money is at stake. The person they asked to pay me did not pay me. So I can't say, how these people take dey make money? Do you understand? So it began to dawn on me that something is what? Something is wrong. So how does Ponzi scheme work? It's a very simple thing. I introduce the business to you. Immediately I introduce the business to you, I will tell you to do what? To invest. Now when you invest, after 30 days, I will multiply that investment for you. That's Ponzi scheme. So when you give me the money, take it for instance, Brad Jibola, say invested like 10,000 naira. So meaning that I will do how much? I will give her 20,000 at the end of the month. So I will do everything possible to bring in what? Brother Prince. I will do everything possible to bring other people. So when Brother Prince come invest 30,000 naira. This man money don secure. So immediately this man's money is secure. And they hold you waiting, and they hold this man. So at a point when you recycle this process, the business becomes what? Saturated. Whereby you don't have, the business will only crash when new investors now they come again. And then the business must crash. If new investors don't come, you don't have money to do what? To pay the older investors. So the business will do what? Will crash. So when they talk about Ponzi scheme, that is the agony of what? Ponzi scheme. So Ponzi scheme takes advantage of what? People's innocence. You just prey on it, collect your money, deceive you, say you go multiply it, but actually it's using what? Other people's money to do what? To replenish it. It's stealing. I steal from this person and give it to this person. I steal from this person and give it to this person. At the end of the day, the business is crashing. Mind you, that business is never registered anywhere. They don't have insurance for that business. So meaning that as the business is crumbling, those of us may get money. I lose money for them. I lost dollars heavily with MMA United. Today, that money did not come. Majority of us, some of us did MMM Nigeria. Some of us lose money there. So when you put the money, it did not come out. And who will you cry to? God. You cannot cry to. You cannot cry to the government. Because it was never what? Registered. 2015, I had a pastor that was doing MMA. Anything evil, anything bad, this man must be there. Once it comes to Ponzi scheme, betting, cheating, fraud, this man must be there. And he was a pastor. So then I was not a Christian. I looked at him one day, I called him. I said, Oga, why is it that anything bad, it is associated with you? Then they do betting, you must be there. To a point, police started looking for this man one day. They want to arrest him. I said, okay, how do you teach your congregation, your church members? What example do you want? Do you show before them? What example? As a Christian, there are some things you should do what? You should not be seen doing. And one funny thing is this. The people of the world that are doing that thing, they know that it is not good for a Christian to do it. There was an example my wife was telling me then, that a deeper lifer, the pastor, was doing MMM. And somebody told him that, you call yourself pastor, you dey do MMM. Now the pastor said, but you dey do MMM. He said, yes, I dey do MMM, but I not be pastor. It's ridiculous. So meaning that the people that are doing it, they know that a Christian should not what? Should not do it. Yet a Christian will come and ask you that, is it noble to do this kind of business? I see it as a what? As a perversion, and I see it as what? Identity crisis. Whoever that does all of this has lost his what? His identity as a what? As a Christian. Okay. Please let us read Exodus chapter 20, verse 15.
Verse 20, verse 15. You shall not steal.
He said you shall what? Not steal. So any business you are doing that you steal is what? Is bad. It's bad. If you steal from anybody because you are doing business, it is what? It is bad. It is bad. It is not only in Paul's scheme though. I'll still bring it down to our normal businesses. Some of us are very terrible in our businesses. Very, very terrible and wicked. You know, when I was going to school then, undergraduate, I used to have a customer. So immediately my father gives me this upkeep money. I'll just go to the woman's shop with the list of the things I want. I'll give it to her, she will package it, she will just pack it. Once I get there, I will just ask her, Madam, how much be the money? She go say, na so thing. I will just pay her, carry the bag, and go. I've been doing it like that. But one fateful day, this woman gave me bill. After paying, all the money my daddy gave to me was finished. I was disturbed. I said, okay, make I go ask. Lo and behold, when I got to another shop and asked for the price of things, see, I was devastated. I was devastated. So many of us that call ourselves Christians, we do worse than that. You are stealing. That is what it is. You are exploiting people of their what? Their hard-earned money. So whatever business you want to do, you should be what? You should be considerate. So when we are talking about Ponzi scheme, we are talking about betting, it is not limited there. We can as well cascade it down to what every other kind of business that will look very what? Noble. Are we together? Please, Proverbs 21 verse 6. Proverbs 21 verse 6.
Proverbs 21 verse 6. Guarding treasure by a lying tongue, the fleeting fantasy of those who seek death.
So, whatever business that you are doing that involves you telling a lie, being fraudulent, should not be seen amongst the children of God. I am not categorizing it. I said whatever business, meaning that anything you are doing that involves you telling a lie, it is what? It is of bad report. and should not be seen in the life of a Christian. And Ephesians chapter 4 verse 28, please don't read. Anyone who has been stealing must stop what? Stealing. You must what? Stop stealing. So those of us that we are thinking of setting up any business, that the foundation is built on this principle of gambling, this principle of betting, Ponzi scheme, whatever it is, you should what? You should desist from it. That foundation is a what? It's a faulty foundation. Okay? So, we have looked at the issues of Ponzi scheme. We talked about deception, unrealistic promises, then collapse is the final phase of every Ponzi scheme. Now, another subheading I want to look at, why Christians should avoid all these schemes. The reason why we must avoid them. One, if it is based on deception, please avoid it. Any business that is based on deception, you should do what? Avoid it. Okay? Then two, if that business you are doing ultimately harms other people, it causes harm to them, please don't do it. Don't do it. Three, it violates biblical principle of honest work. Why Christians should avoid all this? The biblical principle that the Bible has laid down, if you check all these schemes, it violates all of them. It violates all of them. Please do not get involved. Lastly, they are always what? Illegal. Many of all those businesses and schemes, they are always what? Illegal. But at times, when I started, I was asking about lottery. Now, they try to paint a picture of lottery for us, but lottery is also gambling. Please take note. Lottery is also what? It's a type of what? Gambling. Because it is based on what? Chance. We said gambling is anything that is based on what? Chance. The outcome is based on what? Chance. So if you are doing lottery, it is based on chance. But they try to do it somehow. They tie it to what? To education. If you watch majority of the lotteries, they try as much as possible to tie it to something that is very, very what? Productive. Like education. They tie it to this, they tie it to that. But what we are saying, the summary of all of them is that they are all part of what? Gambling. All of them. They are part of gambling. I know of somebody, when Visa lottery was winning then, any money we enter in hand, now for waiting, for Visa lottery. They don't care. So if you look at it, if you cascade it very down, if you narrow it very down, you see that the problems we have in what? Betting is also what? Sin in lottery. Lotto. At times, if you can't go the big clubs, you see it as what? Casino. You see it as casino. They'll tell you say now for the what? It's for the big boys. But they are all what? Form of gambling. And for these points that we have itemized, the act of doing all those things, which involves stealing, greed, telling lies, and all of these, they are all what? They are all very bad and they are terrible. So, another subheading I want to do, building wealth in God's way. Building wealth in God's way. Matthew chapter 6 verse 33 teaches us to seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and every other thing will be added unto it. If you look at the life of Solomon, Solomon did not ask for what? For riches. But what did Solomon ask for? He asked for wisdom. And when God gave him wisdom, every other thing was what? was added to it. So, what I'm trying to portray here is that it is best for you to seek for God's wisdom. If God should bless you with a good skill, remember the 4 steps that I mentioned when I was building on the foundation of this study. If you have one good skills, and you follow these 4 steps that God laid before us, you see that you will be able to make what? A living from it. If you have one good skills. Okay? So it is best for you to even ask God to give you what? A good skill. And when you have a skill, you should also have what? Wisdom to what? To manage that skill that what He has given to us. Some of us we can produce, take it for instance, I am producing ice cream. If I produce one product of ice cream, and I do not have the wisdom, that is the business knowledge, to find customers that will buy that product, I will still make more. True of us. Whatever business you are doing, if you don't have the knowledge, you do not have the wisdom, to learn how to sell to people, you still remain poor. So it is not all about getting the skills. All these 4 things, they do what? They work together for you to what? To break even. So whatever business you are doing, you should learn how to what? How to sell. Have customer base, have the knowledge, the business knowledge to what? To sell to people. Then by so doing, you will make what? You will make good wealth, good riches. Okay? Then 2, in every business you want to do, you must practice contentment. Please read 1 Timothy chapter 6, read 6 to 8.
1 Timothy chapter 6, from verse 6, read us. Now, godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain that we can carry nothing out. And having food and clothing, with this we should be content.
Godliness with what? Contentment is what? Great gain. See, if you have people that are never satisfied with what they have, you are in serious problem. If you have people around you that are never satisfied with what they get, you are in problem. What pushes people into stealing? What pushes people into fraud? What pushes people into this? Is because people are not what? Satisfied. So whatever business you want to do, you should be what? You should have that contentment in your heart. If you are not contented with whatever you are doing, you will want to do what? Exploit people. You want to steal from people so that you can do what? You can have fat profit margin. Like that woman I was telling you about, that my customer, that is exactly what she did to me. Because she wants to make money. She was doing what? Stealing from me. Please, whatever the nature of business we are doing, we are not saying you should not make profit, but the profit should be what? Should be reasonable. It should just be reasonable. Because if I leave your shop today and go to another place and discover that your business, you have cheated me, I don't think I will come there tomorrow. And if I don't come tomorrow and you don't have customers, what happens to your business? It's going to fail. It's going to fail. Okay? Now let us look at practical guidelines. I call it checklist when you want to set up a good business. I managed to create a little checklist. So if you carry this checklist, you tick what you want to do, and any of them not aligning in it, please go and consider that business very well. If the business you want to venture into or the investment seems too good to be true, if it seems too good to be true, please look at it very well. Meaning that something is wrong somewhere. You are supposed to what? To build on businesses. Seek wise counsel. So before you do any business, you should have a what? A thorough knowledge of the business before you what? we invest into it. Some of us, we start business so blindly. We are just blind, we just start the business. I'll just come and say, Brother Jasper, Brother Prince, right? We want to do this business. Somebody just introduce this business to me. You get money, look, you just invest into it. You say, hey, how much the business will pay? I'll tell you that if you just put 10,000 naira today, 20 days time, you get 20,000 naira. Please ask questions before you invest into business and have a thorough knowledge. If you don't have knowledge of that business, please do not what? Do not invest in it. Also, what is the impact of that business you want to venture into on the lives of others? If it will impact the lives of people negatively, please don't do what? Don't invest in it. Now, another question is, would Jesus approve of this business you want to do? Would Jesus approve of this business you want to do? If the answer is no, please don't do it. Then check if it aligns with the principle the Bible has stated in every business that you want to set up. Then lastly, you check if people have good reports of the nature of the business you want to do. It is very, very important. If people have good reports, if they have bad reports of that nature of business they want to do, please don't help them to give excuse. Because majority of Christians, we have to give excuse as to why we should do that thing that is wrong. So please, let us consider if it has a good report. Then Christ-centered business practices. First, before making any decision, please, you must first of all consider your identity as what? As a Christian. Once it is okay, that's okay, I want to set up this business. Another thing you should look at is what? You look at your integrity. You should look at what? Fair pricing. You should look at honest representation. Then you should look at what? Transparent dealing. Some of us, we do businesses that are not transparent. Okay? Then we look at accurate measure of reporting. Registration of the business. Is it what you can do legally? You walk up to CAC that I want to register this business. If it is not, please, it is what? Questionable. Don't venture into it. Okay. Now, the last aspect I want to consider is the practical steps for setting up the business. 1 is strategic planning. 2, set God-honoring goals. 3, include the ministry objective, which is what? The body, which is what? The church. What is the objective of the church? If your business is going to contradict the objective of the church, please don't do it. Okay? The plan for community impact. What impact will this business bring to the community? Is it a positive impact or a negative impact? If it is negative impact, please don't venture into it. Then secondly, financial management. You need to be both very, very prudent before setting up a business. Then you also talk about investment, your growth of investment, meaning that if you are investing in any business, you consider what? The growth. How quickly am I going to break even? Some people want to start a business and break even next tomorrow. Please, all these things tend to impute what? Greed inside your conscience. But if you are doing a business, you say, okay, I am putting 1 million into this business. Within the space of, like, say, 6 months or so time, I should be able to what? To break even in this business. All those things are fair enough. But if you want to put 1 million into a business and somebody tells you that this 1 million when you put, in less than 48 hours you get 2 million, please, such business, they are what? They are questionable. So in conclusion, wealth creation is a godly pursuit when done ethically and aligned with God's principle. So whatever business you want to do should be what? Should be ethical and it must align with God's principle. The Bible teaches us to work diligently, practice stewardship, and use wealth to bless others. Okay? It also warns us against unethical practices like gambling and Ponzi schemes. Any businesses that what cheats, any businesses that tell lies, please you should desist from it. Any business that causes destruction to the lives of others rather than bringing health, rather than giving them the positive side of it, please you should desist from them. We pray that God gives us the grace and the ability so that whatever business, whatever thing we want to venture into, we should consider the impact it has in the lives of people and our community in Jesus' name. Amen.